Hello cuties and welcome to another Japanese history lesson! I don't know why I did jazz hands, but deal with it. This round we're going to talk about everything you need to know about the Kofun period. From 250 to 538 CE was the Kofun period, or Japan's proto-historic period. It gets its name from the type of burial mound found from the era made for members of the ruling class. This era holds the oldest recorded history in Japan and is characterized by Shinto culture, which is the religion in Japan prior to the introduction of Buddhism, though Shinto is still around today. The population in the Kofun period rose as Chinese and Korean immigrants came in, often marrying into elite families thanks to their literary capabilities. This introduced much of the written system of the time and also introduced Buddhism by the end of the Kofun period, leading into the Asuka period, but that's a whole other video. Pottery had yet another shift in the mid-5th century to what is known as sueki or sueware. The pottery is made of a hard, thin-bodied blue-gray clay that's crafted on a potter's wheel for the first time in Japan and fired in a Korean-style anagama kiln. Civilization grew to a central administration and imperial court, with the largest ruling clan being the Yamato clan, who rule over most of Honshu and Kyushu. Their biggest rival being the Kibi clans in Izumo province. After petitioning the Chinese rulers for official titles of rule, they bestowed it upon themselves in the coolest way possible, inscribing things on swords. The Inariyama sword was inscribed with the title Aminoshita Shiroshimesu, which means ruling of heaven and earth. And the Eta Funiyama sword was inscribed with the title Okimi, which means great king. Together, these swords gave power to their bearers and the long title of Aminoshita Shiroshimesu Okimi, which was used up until the 7th century for the title of emperor, until everyone got tired of saying so many freaking syllables and decided that Tenno was a way better term for emperor. Or at least that's probably what happened. In my mind, that's definitely what happened. But even though the Yamato clan is a defining part of the Kofun period, as it is often sometimes referred to as the Yamato period, the real star of this era is of course the Kofun burial mounds. As I said before, the mounds were initially used for members of the ruling class only, and the size of the tomb showed their power and influence, ranging from sizes between 10 meters to 486 meters in diameter. Originally, they sat atop hills overlooking agricultural fields, but later would be mounted up on flatter surfaces. To construct these tombs, a pit was sunk into the top of the mound and lined with brick. Then a smooth clay floor was prepared for the wooden coffin encasing the body, and burial goods such as bronze mirrors, tools, weapons, personal ornaments, horse trappings, and clay vessels. Sealing rocks were then laid to seal the chamber, followed by earth mounted on top of it. Later in the era, wooden coffins were replaced with stone, and moats became a common feature. Around the 6th and 7th centuries, these tombs began to shrink in size and were used for the greater portion of the population, and clusters of mounds can be found, creating Japan's first cemeteries. The mounds were circled with stones, and clay vessels called hanibo were placed on the sloping sides or scattered across the crest, serving as stands for offering vessels. The mounds were often shaped as circles and keyholes, but sometimes were gourd-shaped or even rectangular. The earliest known mounds were built in the Kinai region, now Kyoto, Nara, and Osaka, before spreading to northern Kyushu. The oldest Kofun is the Hokanoyama Kofun in Sakurai, Nara Prefecture, and it dates to the late 3rd century. But the largest Kofun is the Daisenryo Kofun in Osaka. It is the final resting place of Emperor Nintoku and measures 486 meters in diameter. Other famous mounds include the Ishibutai Kofun in Asuka, Nara Prefecture, and the Hashihaka Kofun in Sakurai, Nara Prefecture. Famous cluster Kofun include the Iwase Thousand Mound Tomb Cluster in Wakayama Prefecture, the Saito Baru Kofun Cluster in Miyazaki Prefecture, and the Yame Tomb Cluster in Fukuoka Prefecture. So if you're into tombs and old stuff like that, you should definitely go check them out. I know I would certainly like to, but I need your help! As you probably heard before, I am moving back to Japan, and I'm doing a bunch of raising fund campaign thingy-majigs, like the GoFundMe campaign, my Etsy store, and eBay shop. So definitely please go check those out and help fund my way back to Japan in less than 2 months. And soon I will be back having adventures, possibly filming all the places I've mentioned in this video. So please go check those out. If you have further questions, leave them in the comments below or on Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter, and I will see you next week, cuties. Bye! At 538 CE. I was just going to recite the alphabet from 538 A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z was the Kofun period. 38 CE was the... Wow, this video's already a mess, and this is only the 2nd line. 3rd line. I can't even count. That's how much of a mess this is. In the era made for the... God, there's 3 pages of this. This is not going to go well. Kiln is a weird word, right? It's a weird word. I can't even say weird word, apparently. This is not a good day to be filming videos. And then something in a kiln. And fired. It was fired. Shidoshimetsu, which means ruling... Really? You had to do it then.